Welcome to Fix Your Site from Search to Sale, presented by Mojo Media Labs. We are so excited that you are here today. Please go ahead and drop in the chat where you are joining us from. Really, this is the third time we have done this workshop, and people keep loving it because it is so practical. It is real websites that we are reviewing live and just walking through ways that people can start to generate more money today. So, as we have people joining in, again, please go ahead and drop in where you are joining from. I am in the great state of Indiana, in a little suburb outside of Indianapolis. Gretchen, where are you joining us from today?
I am in Atlanta.
I hope it is a little bit warmer than where it is. We have had snow on the ground for 3 weeks, and I am from the South, and it is still terrifying to me that there is something that is frozen in my driveway. Steph, where are you?
I am about an hour north of you, Mason, in Muncie, Indiana.
Can you tell us a fun fact about Muncie?
Muncie, yes, Muncie is the inspiration for Pawnee, Indiana, if you are a Parks and Recs fan. So,
and hey,
fun fact.
Andrew said he loved that show, and I have to agree. One of my favorite shows of all time. Evan, where are you joining us from today?
I'm in St. Louis, where we do have lots of frozen things on the ground, also known as snow. And you didn't ask for a fun fact, but I'm going to give you one anyways. Here we don't just have ravioli, we have toasted ravioli. I don't know if you've ever heard of this before, but it's actually like baked or fried, and then you dip it in sauce instead of having it like regular pasta. And it's fantastic. I highly recommend it.
Considering I am both gluten and lactose intolerant, that sounds like an awful thing for me to experience, but it sounds fantastic for you. So
don't try it.
Again, thank you for joining Fix Your Site from Search to Sale, presented by Mojo Media Labs. I always like to start by saying first, thank you. You only have 1 hour, or you've joined us for an hour. You have 168 in your week. If you're like me, you like to spend 8 of those a day sleeping. And again, you chose to spend an entire hour with us today. So thank you for joining. And secondly, you probably joined because you have very specific questions, or you are just genuinely curious about how to improve a website. So if you have questions you want answers to, go ahead and drop those in the Q&A section, and we will get to those at the end. And again, just thank you for joining today. We hope that you get everything you were hoping to, and maybe even a little bit more. And I also want to walk you through exactly how you're going to get the most out of today. Again, these are live website reviews with real websites. So if you're like me, you've got 2 screens. So what I would recommend doing is pulling up your website in one screen, pulling up this workshop in another. And as we go through websites, just kind of scroll down your website with us. And you can identify, oh, I'm doing some of the same things, and I'm missing some of the same opportunities that could drive more revenue for my business. And pull out a sheet of paper and a pen and go ahead and start writing some things down. And if you're also like me, you've joined a ton of online workshops and you've learned a ton of great ideas, and you never took the time to execute. So what I'd recommend is going ahead and scheduling out some time. So while we continue to go through this little intro, go ahead and finish scheduling out some time that you can ensure that you actually go ahead and implement and execute some of these ideas. Because again, these are revenue driving ideas. And again, I want to walk you through what this is designed to do. It's going to help you create a fantastic search result that will get more visitors onto your website. Once they're there, you'll be able to grip them from the moment that they land on the page. And then you'll actually be able to educate them as to why they would want to buy your product. From there, you can then invite the qualified website visitors into your buying process. And then the last thing is, as we walk through this, myself, Gretchen, Steph, and Evan work with tons of B2B websites and tons of B2B clients. So there might be random things that we just have ideas about that we'll just throw in that are strategic revenue driving insights. So again, we're going to walk you through this thing called the grunt test. We are going to help you create customer focused language. We're going to understand your buying process so that you can then understand how to make it even better. And then finally, offer any other strategic marketing insight. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and introduce our guides. Steph, can you go ahead and take it away?
Hi, everybody. I'm Stephanie Fisher. I'm the creative director here at Mojo. So I work really closely with the creative team of content marketers and designers. And I am also a StoryBrand certified guide. So I'm excited to get going on this. And this is my third Fix Your Site webinar that I'm participating in. So love it. Love this series. Gretchen or Evan, sorry, Evan, you're next.
Yep, I am also a StoryBrand certified guide. For anybody who hopped on at the very beginning, I am located in St. Louis, Missouri. I do a lot of content marketing alongside Steph and the rest of the team here. And then we talk a lot at StoryBrand or in our StoryBrand framework workshops about an open story loop. And so I just want to get this out of the way. I have a donut tattoo. It's very glittery. It's from my son. He gave it to me during the Super Bowl. Mason asked me about it when we first hopped on the webinar. And so I didn't want anybody thinking like my hand was like hurt or bruised. It's not. It's just a sparkly donut tattoo. So that's a fun fact about me. Gretchen, do you have any fun sparkly donut tattoos?
I really wish that I did, you know, that would make a good intro. Also an odd coincidence, but I am also a StoryBrand certified guide, and I am an account manager here at Mojo, and I am located in Atlanta.
And my name is Mason Cosby. I'm the marketing director over here at Mojo Media Labs, and I market marketers to marketers, which means I essentially function as our team's R&D department to figure out what works and then pass some of those things on to our clients. I am unfortunately actually a has-been. I was a StoryBrand certified guide. I didn't re-up, so I don't have the badge, but I still have the knowledge. So with that, we're going to go ahead and just dive right in. So we're going to start with a company called Edulog, and passing remote control over to Steph. Take it away.
Okay. Is the mouse moving? I feel like
Mouse is moving.
Okay, good. All right. Well, thank you, Mason, for that. I love this webinar format because of exactly what you said, Mason. It's very practical, and even if the website that we're reviewing today doesn't align with maybe your industry or your product, there are still a lot of universal concepts and principles that we're going to be talking about that you can translate and apply to your website. So I have a question here too that I want to answer before we get started. Are we going to look at websites or landing pages or both? So probably both, probably homepages and also maybe some other landing pages as we go through here. So Edulog. So when I first jumped into reviewing this site, I always like to start with the positive. So what I really liked about this site was overall the branding. There are very consistent elements that tell a story throughout the website. So nice iconography, color palette, consistency that throughout the site with those items that are really they really tell a story of a company who has created a SaaS product for schools and for parents. So those elements work really nicely throughout the site. There's also a really strong CTA here, a schedule a demo. So that's one thing I always love to see is a consistent, strong CTA, direct CTA, so that no matter where you're at on the site, you know exactly what you need to do to move forward, to purchase, or to get started. So I really like those elements. On to the things that, opportunities for improvement. The very first thing that I like to see on a website is a clear message, so that I know what you do, I know what I need to do to get started, and I know what you're going to do to help me solve my problems. And so that was missing for me here in the banner and the hero image, because there's a lot going on, right? So there's a sliding kind of rotating banner area that has a lot of information, and maybe a little too much information really for me to be able to digest it and understand what's going on. So that was the first thing of note. Sliders are not easily scannable. There's kind of just a lot of text here on the very first slide. There's a lot of words to read, and it's not about like, as a first-time visitor, I may not be interested in this virtual workshop because I don't even know what you do yet. So this is information that maybe someone who's already very familiar with your product could use, but doesn't really help me as a first time visitor understand what it is that you're doing. So less is more is what we usually like to say. Less is more when it comes to this first introduction to your brand. A lot of times this might be the very first thing that I'm seeing to get to know your brand. So the other thing is imagery. So with a hero banner, you know, you can really set up your imagery to tell the story, right? So let your photography and your hero banner image really do some of the heavy lifting to showcase what success looks like, who your audience is, so people can see that and immediately start to relate to, oh yeah, I'm in the right place because these people look like they are, you know, winning at life, or, you know, they're getting their kids onto the school bus and they're using their app to communicate with the bus driver or whatever. So those kinds of images can really tell a lot of the story in a short amount of time, because people only will give your website a few seconds, you know, before they either they're confused or they don't know what they're doing and they'll click away. So you really have a very short amount of time to get people's attention. So less is more. Allow the imagery to do the heavy lifting and create a very clear message so people know what it is you do when they land on your website. So moving down, there are some great things that I love about actually the rest of the page is really good. So this really helped me right away figure out what it was that you did. So even though I didn't get that right at the very first part of the website, I didn't have to scroll very far before the pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place. So this is really great information and good supporting imagery to tell me what it is you do, which is this routing software, a parent portal, things that have to do with tracking school bus routes and schedules. So all of your services here, that's really great. News and press, this was kind of another area where there could be some opportunity to tell a little more of the story and not overwhelm people with too many things to do. And just as a side note, that these little call to action buttons are a little hard to read. So just a little accessibility issue here with the text over that image. Here we go. We have a nice little section about who you are. That's really nice. A very quick little snippet. Again, the imagery that you select on your website really matters. What we know is that people like to see happy people, successful people, images of faces. So really think about, like, is this image doing anything for you? And would it be better to show maybe your team members or happy customers, that kind of thing. So the other important thing that we like to see is social proof or authority. So it's really great that you guys have your client logos here. It shows, you know, you're working with school districts to implement your solutions. We have a nice little section here of, you know, why. And I almost would rather see some of this up a little bit higher, because this is really showing you guys are doing, you have the authority to help them, and you have demonstrated successes. And this information, I think, is maybe a little more valuable and can go up above maybe like your feature set even. So those are just a little bit buried. Love to see client testimonials as well. And one thing that I'll mention, as I reviewed the whole site, I found that there's really a lot of opportunities to weave these kinds of social proof throughout the site. So don't just put it on the homepage and expect, everyone to see that. It is farther down the page. And you can really use these little snippets throughout the site to reinforce that authority and make sure people see the testimonials throughout the website. The final thing on the page is your final call to action, which is good that you end with that final call to action, but it's a little bit buried and blended as well. And it's a different call to action than what you have at the top. So start a conversation with us, talk to us is perhaps maybe not the best. If you want to have the consistency, you might have another schedule a demo. If they're not wanting to schedule a demo, there might be a different kind of transitional call to action, we call it. So if they're not ready to buy, what is another kind of offer that you can transition them into the funnel? That could be like an offer or a download or something that gets them to fill out a form and say, yeah, I want that. So just another way to think about getting people into the funnel. If they're not ready to schedule a demo, maybe they're ready to download an ebook or a report from you that applies to them. Let's see, I think that's pretty much everything I had. One other tip that I thought could be really helpful here, and I usually like to see this on any kind of a SaaS product or technology product, is a video explainer, just kind of giving a really quick snapshot of what it is, how it works, and seeing people use it. It helps to kind of lift the fog of what is this thing that we're looking at. So any other questions or notes from the other guides?
I'll go first, Steph. We actually had a question I thought was really insightful. I'd love to pose it to you. They said this homepage seems really long. Any guidance on how long or short we should make homepages? I know it's contextual to each site, but what are your thoughts about length for a homepage?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's something that we get a lot of questions from our clients. How long should the homepage be? It seems like we're scrolling for a long time. And I honestly like a long homepage because there are several elements you need to tell the story, right? It could be too long if you're not telling, if you're not including important parts of the story. But if people are still interested and they're still scrolling, that's a good thing, right? So they'll stop when they get to what they want to see or what they need. But otherwise, if they're still scrolling and they're still kind of engaged, that's not a bad thing, right? So that's my take on it. Good
Yeah,
question.
I completely agree. And I just want to note real quick, Steph, if you go a little bit farther up the page to where that screen grab or that mock-up is,
Yes.
right there, sometimes your messaging is hiding in plain sight. So find out how Edulog's integrated software for school transportations can help you. I almost feel like a tagline or a header could come out of integrated software for school transportation. Like maybe that's not the end result, but that's kind of what you're looking for, to be super clear, concise, and let people know this is what we do. If you need this, we're your people.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, like I was saying, this really clarified more for me. So if this were in the hero banner, that would go a long way to getting people, oriented when they first land on your site. And then the other note on top, just to add to Evan's comment, rather than saying, see how your school district benefits, pull out like the main benefit and say, your school district will benefit in this specific way by using our integrated software. So, don't make them look too hard, right? Put it right in their face, what that benefit is, what that main value point is. All right, Mason, back to you.
So before we leave this side, I have two other quick thoughts.
Sure.
One, we love to repeat calls to action down the page. So there's only a call to action at the top, and it's not a sticky header, so it's not going down the page with you to actually schedule a demo. And then at the very bottom, so this whole middle section, there's nothing. Like, you can't schedule a call in the whole middle section. That's a really long way to go down to not be able to actually like buy your products. The other thing is we love a good 3-step plan. So it would be schedule a demo, get matched with the right technology, have peace of mind about your school transportation, something to that extent where you're inviting people and walking them through what does it actually look like to buy our products and services. So, all right, we are going to go ahead and move right along. So the next one is going to be called Keyed In, and Evan, that is you. So let me stop having remote control. And Evan, take it away.
Perfect. Is everybody seeing my cursor move around the screen? Let me know if you're seeing that yet.
There we go.
Perfect. Okay, I'm seeing it too. So Steph did a great job early on of mentioning all the great things about that first site. And I think that's really important to note here too, because most of the time, if someone's going to review your website, the first thing they're going to do is tell you like 20 things that are wrong and then end it there, right? But that's usually not the case. There are some things that are really well done in each site we're reviewing today. And so I want to make sure that we bring attention to that. And the first is that call to action button that we spent a few minutes on in the first site is right here in free trial, right? It's located not only in the top right-hand corner where most people are going to automatically look to, but you can even see, I love that there's a little bit of a color difference if you hover over it. So there's an interactive piece that also, even though it's a different call to action, you see that same color here and watch the video. And I'm going to be completely honest. I was a little bit confused on what Keyed In offered until I watched the video. So I'm so grateful that that was way at the top of the page. I would love to maybe even see that video be embedded. Maybe that's right here or somewhere up top so that it doesn't get missed, so that someone can see maybe like that YouTube play icon or a video like play button to say, oh my gosh, this is who we are. This is what we do. Because it became very apparent to me after a couple minutes on site that you do have a powerful product, that you are really passionate, and that you have profitable portfolios. But it was really hard for me to tell right off the gate, like, what is it that you're doing and like, what problem are you solving? So I think like even making that video more prominent could be really helpful because there's a fine line between jargon that speaks to your audience and jargon that is a little bit confusing. And again, unless we work together in detail, we wouldn't know exactly what that balance is. But let's read that together. As a leader in agile portfolio management, Keyed In offers SaaS solutions that support evolving needs of PMOs, EPMOs, and SROs. That's a lot of acronyms there that could either confuse or could solidify folks to say that's me. And so I think it's really important to make sure that if you're going to be that specific in your H2 section, that H1, that like main header up here, clearly calls them to some form of success or identifies this is what we do and this is how we serve you. If we go a little bit farther down the page, something that you brought up, Steph, that I think was really helpful is imagery, right? Not only is it powerful and does it like jive with the messaging and the copy you write, but also it can detract from that as well. There were several moments where I actually liked the idea of using graphs, but it was a little bit hard for me to either read the graphs or understand what I was looking at. So in this moment, like not having worked with you, Keyed In, but knowing a little bit about you, I think a graph could be a really powerful illustration, but only if I can read it. So I think there's maybe some creative ways that you could make this a little bit easier to read. And then you can complement that with some copy off to the side. Most of the folks that we work with either say testimonials are available, but they're really hard to get, or we don't have testimonials, right? Or they're buried somewhere deep and we have to go through compliance to get approval again. I loved seeing that there were testimonials stated here, and then there was a video connected to them. That feels like the 1-2 punch for a testimonial. That's your authority. That's providing proof of concept or social proof, like you had mentioned, Steph. But if you've got two different mediums, a statement you can read and a video you can watch, that is like the holy grail to me of a testimonial. So that's well done here. If you go a little bit farther down, it almost feels like the graphics are getting smaller. Like I tried to read this, but it was really hard to jump in and read this. At this point, I'm halfway down the homepage, and I understand sort of what you do, but I don't understand the problem that you solve. And I think when we do messaging work, it's really important for us to identify not just what success looks like or not who your clients are, but like what problems do you tangibly solve? And it wasn't until I watched another video on a subsequent page that I got it, that it locked in. I wrote this down. In the video, there was a statement about we're using fractured spreadsheets to try to track revenue, goals, processes, and questions, and they just weren't integrated in doing the job for us. And I was like, oh my gosh, as a marketer, as someone who's worked in all of these spaces, we use spreadsheets all the time. We love HubSpot, but we still do. Like, I got it. But it wasn't until I went to an interior page with a video that's not anywhere listed here that I started to recognize what the problem was. So I think if we could call out the problem early, often, not in a way that's like, trying to make people feel like bad about what they have or what they need, but enough just to make sure people understand like this is what's at stake and we can help solve that for you. Because we're about halfway down the homepage. I would love to start answering the question of what problem are we solving here. If we go a little bit farther down, not only is it great to have client logos like Steph had mentioned in the first one, actually both sites did this really well. It's like, oh my gosh, these are some powerful logos. I don't know if we want to use them maybe a little bit higher up the page because they are so prominent. For folks who are like, yeah, I work with Grandma Betty's brand, maybe your logos are important, but they should be farther down the page. But if you're working with Office Depot and Honda, it might necessitate being a little bit farther up the page. So I say play to your strengths. Feels like that's a really key strength that we want to play into. Again, more testimonials. You can see that you can actually sift through a couple of testimonials here with videos and quotes. So I really love that. That was like icing on the cake. I like this section here about integrating with the tools you already use. What I would like to point out is that kind of like we had talked about in the first one with like content hiding in plain sight. It wasn't until I went to the About page that I really started to get a sense for how we could clarify your message, because parts of it are already there. So if we look at leading business solutions for all sizes of workflow management, I didn't see that anywhere on the homepage. And even though business or business solutions can sometimes be a little bit fumbling in terms of what that is, I was like, I feel like that starts to get a little bit clearer. And then when you look at the section below here, our philosophy is simple. We believe people are happier and more productive when they're doing the work they love. We provide solutions that simplify business processes and allow for greater output through efficiency and productivity improvements. Oh my gosh. Like if you're not going to redo your entire website, we completely get it. But take that section and put that high up on your homepage. It introduces the empathy. It talks about people like loving what they do. So like they're going to start resonating with the story. And then I actually understand like you're taking fractured systems and bringing them into one cohesive like unit. Oh my gosh. So there are several pages on the website. I would just say if you feel like your homepage is a mess, and this is not a mess, but if you feel like, oh my gosh, there's no hope, before you trash your website, look at the rest of the pages and see if you've got something elsewhere that you might just be able to like recycle and like uplift and put somewhere else. So I saw a lot of things, Mason, I really loved. There's still obviously a ton of things that could be optimized, but overall, I think if we work on messaging first and then take copy that is written from the messaging and then build out the design, that's your 3-step winning process. So if anybody's looking today, figuring out like, I want to start my website process, it's messaging first, then copy, and then design. So any other thoughts? Did we get any questions or anything else that folks wanted to mention? I'll go back to the homepage.
Didn't see any questions, but that was fantastic. Thank you, Evan. Before we dive into the next one, I do want to go ahead and throw out that we are actually doing 25 personalized reviews following this. We've already selected a handful from those that have pre-submitted their websites. But if you would like a personalized review like we're doing right now, that will be sent to you, connect with me on LinkedIn and send me your website. And I'd be happy to, I'm going to pick out 25. I think we've already got a list of upwards of 30. So it's just the websites that we know we can offer the most insight to. So with that, we're going to go ahead and dive into the next one, which is Cisiv. So Gretchen, feel free to take it away.
All right. Can you guys see me moving my mouse? Are we moving?
There we go. You're moving now.
Perfect. So like some of the other guides here, I'll start with some of the positive stuff that I noticed first. So I first of all love this big logo up here in the top left. It's really helping center the page for me.
Hey,
And
Gretchen, so sorry, real quick.
Yep.
If you click on the logo, I think when you were moving your mouse, we moved to a different page. So now we're back to the home page.
There we go. Perfect. And look at that. That logo is still right there. So I love that logo there. The other thing I love that we've talked about a little bit is this CTA up here, this contact us. Again, that's interactive. That's really great to see. One of the things that I noticed a little bit further when I was going through is this right here. It says decisions made with confidence. I really love that tagline and it's powerful, especially for what you guys do. And so I would just encourage you to incorporate that a little bit more throughout your homepage and use that in your storytelling. It's a great tagline. That's just the only place that I saw it, but really, really loved it. Scrolling down here a little bit. So we've got this rotating banner here, which I think there's a way to do this well. But as some other guides have mentioned too, sometimes you scroll a little bit farther and you've got some hidden gems in here. So when I'm looking at this, one of the first things I would do is actually take this hero banner, put some success imagery. There's a slide in here. I believe it's this one. Let's see. I mean, even this is great. This picture here, lots of success imagery here, but put this global employment screening solutions for large enterprises and just put that up there at the top. I know exactly what it is that you do. I'm not confused about it. And then underneath, you have this great sentence where Cisiv fuses technology and human insight into clear and actionable intelligence for any HR leader. That is a great sentence. And so I would take the second half of that sentence and put that as your subheader right under this big statement here. So I know what you do exactly and the problem that you solve before I have even scrolled. And I think that would just be a much better use of this space up here. So that would kind of be my, I think, biggest note for improvement there. As I kind of scroll down, you guys have a lot of great copy in here. It's just very copy heavy. And so one of the things that I would take with this is you've got this premier background screening, HCM technology, executive intelligence. What I would do is, again, you guys have the words here, take some of these words, put them in a value stack right below, your hero image. And these are words from y'all's, your paragraphs, but you could put something like background screening, seamless onboarding, protect your business. And so what this is going to do is just help clarify for anybody who's scrolling of, do I need this product? What are they going to do for me? And I don't even have to read anything to do that. It's just right across the screen. The other thing that you could do with this as well, maybe pop it up a little bit with some imagery. As Mason was saying earlier, we love a 3-step process. So here's the problem that I'm going to solve for you guys, but then here's how we do it. Another great thing that I noticed kind of going through here is you do have, it's not here, but it's on your banner. You have some great transitional calls to action where you can download a white paper. And that's really great. But what I wonder is if requested demo might be a really good CTA for you guys to incorporate, so someone can kind of see how this technology works. And so that could be a great part in that 3-step process of how to get connected, learn more, schedule a demo, have confidence in your hire, anything like that. My other kind of insight here is scrolling down, we've got, again, lots of text. So I would really encourage you guys to bring some more imagery into this. I think anybody who works in HR can empathize with the pain of making a bad hire. And I think you kind of want to play up on that a little bit of how time consuming and potentially frustrating making a bad hire or missing some information in a background check could be. And so I would take some of that language that you have in here, talking about, what your customer's problem is, and really resonate with that. The cost of making a bad hire, we want to help you avoid this, and have some imagery that plays into that. And again, as you guys scroll down, here's that transitional call to action. This is really great, but again, I would find another call to action that you could implement as well, that's a little bit more direct, because this is great for someone who's not ready to talk to someone yet. But what if I hop on here and I'm just so excited, and I'm so excited for you to solve my problems that I want to get started right now? Maybe give me an option for that. The last thing I think scrolling through here is, again, you guys, you have a lot of screens on here too. And because you're an HR screening company, that was not a pun on purpose, but I would, because you're in the business of helping people find and hire the right people, I would really highlight that. You have some great testimonials on here. And one of the things that I noticed going through here is, in all of your testimonials, your customers mention how responsive you are. And that was across 4 testimonials. So I would encourage you to maybe highlight that in your offering, especially if that's something that's a competitive edge with other screening solutions that you guys come up against. And again, we've got some great authority here of some other brands that you guys have worked with. So I loved seeing that. And then I believe the last thing I'll kind of point out here is you guys have this really great page that was a great example. So when you go to solutions and motor vehicle records, this was just an example of you guys got it. Because right here you have, don't be caught off guard by incompetent DMV checks. That is such a great example of really talking about a problem. And so that same language and kind of methodology that you guys use there, I'm instantly captivated. I'm not even in HR and I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be awful. I don't want to be caught off guard by that. So I would just say you have the copy and the material in your website to really make this website, stand out above the rest. And so, it's there, just kind of go through it, find some happy imagery and take some of this awesome copy that you have and put it to work. Any insight from any other guides?
I thought that was great, Gretchen. I think one thing that I notice, kind of a pattern with a lot of our clients and prospects in the B2B space, sometimes we forget human imagery. I know I touched on that before with my review, and I see it here too. Sometimes we focus so much on the technology or the product that we've made and the features and benefits, and we forget there are people buying these products, and they want to see, they want to be able to relate to your brand. And the best way to do that is to have more human elements to your brand. So I would say anybody who's thinking about, well, maybe I hear this a lot. I don't want to put stock images on there because what if our audience, it's a man and a woman is, represented, or vice versa. Like, this person doesn't look like me, so I'm going to alienate, people. But, I would very, very much encourage you to find imagery that works for you, and don't be afraid to, put some human faces to your brand. Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Steph. And we're going to go ahead and move into really the final website that is not an example website. After this website, we will show you an example of a client that we've worked with that is absolutely killing it on driving revenue through the website. So really what I want to do is dive into a company called Tiger Connect. Tiger Connect is a medical technology SaaS platform. So you really get that from their header language, how care teams connect and collaborate. Welcome to healthcare's most powerful collaboration suite. Enhance clinical workflows, speed decisions, and improve patient outcomes safely and securely. This one's a little bit close to my own heart because my wife is a nurse, and whenever there's bad communication in the hospital, my wife and I have dinner an hour later. So I go hungry because of really bad internal collaboration because of some outdated tools. And quite frankly, Tiger Connect is doing a fantastic job. They do get a demo. So I know who they are, I know what they do, and I know how to do business with them. What I would change though is the header. There's a lot going on in the header. We've got a sales funnel, we've got login, we've got support, we've got contact us, we've got get a demo. There are 4 separate calls to action that are revolving around contacting the company. And I think that we could probably put that down to 2. It could be login and it could be get a demo. And you can put support in the footer. And when I looked into contact us was just a repeat of get a demo, login, and support. Additionally, I am of the philosophy that the only things that should be in the header are either products or they should help you purchase. So resources and why Tiger Connect can also go down to the footer. So when I would love to see a header that only has who we serve, solutions, log in to serve your existing customer base, and get a demo. And then you may want to A/B test having a phone number. I don't have any data to support one way or the other, but I just like cleaning up the header as much as possible. Because again, my philosophy on headers is products and purchasing. So you can clean it up and make it really easy to actually move into a buying process. As we scroll down the page, we've got great authority. I mean, again, not necessarily in the medical space directly, but I'm familiar with it. These are some very large medical organizations that give a lot of essentially clout. Also very clear, concise copy. Tiger Connect solutions make healthcare communication easy by putting information, data, and alerts in the hands of care teams, mobile, reliable, and secure. And as much as it's not a happy, smiley person, I love that I get a feel for what the platform looks like. It looks pretty easy. It looks fairly intuitive, and I can use it on my phone. The one thing I would change is when you dive into get the solution guide, it takes you to a landing page where you then download a 16-page PDF that walks through the platform. And if I need a 16-page PDF to start a buying decision, that feels overwhelming to me. I also think that this 16-page PDF could be translated into a landing page, because as I searched the website, I couldn't find that information anywhere else. And maybe I just didn't find it. The flip side of it is that I'm somebody navigating your website. So I should be able to find features and solutions that you already have in a PDF. So I would recommend making that into its own landing page. And if you want to, because again, I imagine these are large medical technology purchases. You've got a lot of people in the buying committee. You may want to have that 16-page PDF that you can print off. So as you go into a boardroom, you can all talk through the pros and cons. You can put that on the landing page as a downloadable content offer. So it still has a place. I just don't think it's the primary way of getting that information. And again, you can actually replace that call to action with get a demo so that you can invite people into a buying process. I love this section because again, what Tiger Connect does really well is the language is almost exclusively focused on the customer. It's not our solutions, it's your team. So it's all about the customer. That was absolutely killer. And I actually see who the teams are. I've got physicians, I've got nurse teams, I've got IT, and I've got executives. What I would then also do is I put request a demo right there because I like more calls to action. We have a fantastic testimonial from Jonathan, but when you click see why, it takes you to a single landing page where the only thing on that landing page is a little bit of copy and a video. And I think the video could replace this image. And then the thumbnail image could be Jonathan kind of standing like this and wearing a polo that's got the logo, and you have a play button. And I know that you have videos on your homepage because as we scroll down, we'll actually get into some really, really solid video information. My one nitpick though about the videos is the videos do a fantastic job of explaining the problem you solve, whereas nothing else prior has directly said it's immensely frustrating when your healthcare teams can't properly communicate between PT, IT, executives, nurses, and doctors. The difference between life and death for your patients depends on effective communication and getting the right information into the right person's hands. You're literally dealing with life and death. And I know this because I've spoken with Wendy over at Tiger Connect, who's really passionate about this. Wendy is the CMO. Like, it's literally life and death. And you don't talk about it. And you could. And when you actually relate it into that kind of a problem, I'm gripped. I'm in. I need to know, how do I save somebody's life? Like that's a different kind of state that you could talk about. And then you get into with this next section right here, Tiger Connect solutions make healthcare communication easy. So it's just a problem section right here that really talks through that communication piece. And then I do like this as a way of kind of triaging to the different solutions that you offer. This is going to get real nitpicky because I got to be honest, this website's amazing, like fantastic branding. Like I have to get nitpicky, and also I really love Wendy, so I have to pick on Wendy a little bit. This font's just a different size. Sorry, Wendy, had to do it. This is also a great video, and again, like the way that you're walking through your headlines, the headlines are telling a story to where I don't even have to read like the sub copy. The sub copy is like explaining further, but the headlines give me all the information I need. So I can be like, oh yeah, no, I definitely need to like automate my physicians. They're awful at scheduling. Or like, man, I really need to reach my patients faster with less effort because I've got, there's a pandemic. If you haven't noticed, I'm managing 8 patients. So I need to do anything that I can to make my life easier. And then instantly connect with your colleagues. So through the platform, it's HIPAA compliant as a way to, again, streamline effective communication. And then it's actually got a really solid video. And then you've got some resources. So the other 2 things that I would recommend, 3-step plan, because again, you have a complex product. I know that in the past year, Tiger Connect has moved from a single product motion to a multiple product motion. So you guys just really complicated all that you guys are doing. You're helping more people. You have a better solution, but there's like 16 products in 16 different buying committees or 16 different personas. Like there's just a lot involved in your product. So the more you can simplify and help me understand, first I'll request a demo, and then I'll have someone guide me through step by step and help me understand what I need and how to move forward so that I can literally save lives. And then what is a picture of success? You've got a hospital running on all cylinders, maximizing patient care. That's amazing. So, and then you got some resources, which are great. Ready to see more, request a demo. So big takeaways. Love your branding. Love the look and feel of it. Love your copy. Like you guys did a great job on copy. More calls to action. Like consistently say, get a demo, get a demo, get a demo. Make your features PDF into its own dedicated landing page and make that testimonial that you have on a separate page into a video on your homepage, and then call out the problem in a problem section that is right underneath those logos. If you did that, Wendy, I'm telling you, you drive more money, you make more money. So all that to say that those are some of the main key takeaways. Other guys, do you have any other thoughts?
We did get
I think you covered it.
We did get a question, Mason. Adele wants to know, Mason, can you share your LinkedIn profile so we can connect? Are you going to share your LinkedIn at the end of this?
I can. I'll need to stop sharing my screen so I can like actually hold on. I might have it. Oh, Wendy, you're on the call. Good to see you. All right, there it is. There's my LinkedIn.
Awesome.
And Wendy, I just want to let you know you are my favorite CMO, period. And it's on the record. So with that, we've got really 10 more minutes. We had planned on going through an example. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out. Go to nsi1.com to see an amazing example of a website that does this incredibly well. So I'm just going to throw that out there. And what I'll go ahead and also do real quick, copy and paste. So it is in the chat. And hey, if you are going through all of this and you're recognizing, man, they seem to know what they're talking about. Like they know how to do good messaging. They know how to really pull the words out of me so that I can then have an amazing website that's going to drive revenue. We actually have two options for you. So for starters, if you want to fix your site today, you've got a massive, super robust website that's like just insanely huge, and you really want a more custom tailor-made solution. We actually do what's called a website blueprint. So you work with our strategist over here at Mojo that specifically is only working on websites. Her name is Heather Lyon. She is amazing. She's been doing this for like 8 years, and she's got a whole amazing team around her. And we're just going to really walk through an entire blueprinting process. And what that means is we're going to actually identify what are the goals, what are the strategy of this website, how does it fit into the larger picture. Then we'll do a site map, we'll inventory all of your content, we'll do site structure, usability, website architecture. We'll then figure out a timeline and scoping the work. And then that also includes some meeting and just general project management as you guys are going through that entire process. It's highly collaborative. And we've actually had some amazing websites come out where we can then work with the client and say, what's your budget? Once we've gotten through this process, how can we make sure that you get the best website for the least amount of dollars? So it's a very collaborative, amazing process that generates incredible results. And let's say, you know what, you've got a website and you don't need 100 landing pages. Like you just kind of need something that's going to highlight the products you have, invite people into a sales process, and just make it easy to actually buy from you. We have a website package called Beyond Basic. So it's not basic, it's beyond basic. And really what that just includes is that blueprinting process. It also includes a messaging workshop with one of our guides over here. We'll build out your homepage from that messaging. It will be built on the HubSpot content management system, which I personally love because if you've looked at Mojo's website, I'm one guy that like had it helped built for me to get it all set up. And then from there for the past year, it's just been me hanging out with a couple of designers. It's amazing. So if you made it here, congrats. It was thanks to the HubSpot CMS. Additionally, it will be expertly designed around your brand because we've got some amazing designers, and then copywritten 6 interior pages by one of these amazing StoryBrand guides over here, Search Engine Optimized. And we've also got some meetings and project management with you. And if you're wondering, man, that sounds like something I would want, how do I do that? Go to mojomedialabs.com. There's a big red button at the top right-hand corner. And if you want to look at what a good sales process looks like, we actually just give you the calendar. So you can pick the time that works best for you. And from there, let's say, I don't know, I want to meet with Nicole Fraser, who is an amazing growth consultant. I then fill out a couple of questions and then, man, time's on the calendar. And we're off to the sunset to make an amazing website with the Mojo Media Labs team. So with all of that said, are there any other questions?
Mason, we do have a fairly in-depth question here about the kinds of choices we need to make for type, color, size of font based on the persona you're targeting. Do you have any comments about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I would honestly, we did a branding series on our old podcast, Made You Click, where we walked through in the course of 4 episodes with our branding expert, everything around color or colors and iconography and like color psychology and brand archetypes and typography and all of those different things. Again, if you'll connect with me over LinkedIn, I'll actually send you a link to all 4 of those episodes. But the basics that I'm going to actually adhere to more than just personas is ADA compliance. So I recommend a large enough font that people can read it, because like I saw your question earlier about like different age groups. You need larger fonts for older generations. Completely get that. I would just adhere to ADA compliance, and ADA stands for American Disability Association. So that is making sure that we have websites that are accessible for those that have some form of disability, whether that be partial blindness or complete blindness, or they're deaf, or just making it websites accessible. As far as colors and all of that, I mean, that's really getting into, again, color psychology. So you'll notice that I think it's upwards of, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, it's either 70 or 80% of brands typically incorporate some kind of blue, because blue is indicative of innovation and calm and confidence. And it's because psychologically we lean towards blue, whereas red is exciting. And if you'll notice, fast food restaurants typically incorporate red or yellow as a way of getting you to eat your food faster. So there's a lot that goes into when we talk through the colors you should be using on your website. I'm trying to read through the rest of this question.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I mean, there's no one like right color or wrong color, right? And with fonts and sizes, you're absolutely right. Make sure it's accessible, make sure it's readable. The thing that most people don't think about is that most people don't want to read a lot on your website. So keep things bite-sized. I think that's more important than, do I have the right size font? Like, is it bite-sized and can people read it easily on any device? That's the big thing. And when it comes to, your brand colors, we could get way down in the weeds with, visual style guides and your brand, your brand guidelines and how those, should be set up. But ultimately, those things need to go back to your brand strategy and your industry and who your brand is as a brand personality. So as long as those things align and tell the right story, then the colors that you use are, I mean, those things are gonna follow your overarching kind of brand strategy. Yeah.
Absolutely. Are there any other final questions?
That was it
All right.
that's it from the Q&A.
Well, we did Q&A throughout. So final closing thought, again, if you need help with your website, we've got two amazing options for you that we would be more than happy to really just help you improve your website, drive more revenue, and ensure that you're actually engaging your ideal audience. If you have any additional questions, or if you would like to make sure that your website gets in front of my face so that it has the potential to be reviewed, email me at mason.cosby@mojomedialabs.com. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. I'd be happy to potentially review your website. I know that I've already got quite a few lined up, but I want to be sure that I get as many as possible. So again, thank you for joining Fix Your Site today. We hope you all enjoyed.